Okay, before the video starts, if you don't mind checking me out on Twitch, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday. Besides that, let's get right into the video. Now, I'm not actually too sure if I want to make this a ongoing theme or do actually other operators, so if you don't mind giving your feedback and description, it would much help it. Thank you. Now, when people talk about underrated operators, a lot of people go for Gridlock, Castle, and even sometimes Mute, but I like to think Fuse is the most underrated operator, and here's why. Now, let's first start out by looking at Fuse's loadout. For his primary, Fuse has an AK-12, the 6P41 LMG, the same as Finka, and a shield. Both of his guns are very hard hitting, and the AK is a very strong AR. I would consider it one of actually the best ARs. The only issue with the AR is the reload. After you shoot the 31 bullets, you have to get this very long and annoying reload animation, and it cocks back, and sometimes if you don't let the animation go through completely, you can actually lose the gunfight because it doesn't reload completely. Of course, the shield is never a good option unless you want to be a turtle and just troll. Besides that, the ADS timing is horrible. For Fuse's secondaries, he has the GSH-18, and my personal favorite pistol out of the whole pistols in the game is the PMM. The two pistols are the opposite of each other. One does high damage and low clip ammo, and the other does half the damage of the first pistol, but with more bullets. Both solid secondaries, though. For his main gadget, Fuse has 3 cluster charges that shoot out puck-like grenades that scatter across a room, going left to right. And for his generic gadgets, he has breaching charges and smoke grenades. Okay, so now I would like to go over the positives and negatives of actually using Fuse. Of course, starting out with the positives. Ever since Ubisoft added pick and ban into ranked, Thatcher is the #1 go-to attacker to be banned. The issue with that is there isn't an opera that comes close to what Thatcher does. Of course, you have Kali and Twitch, but they only do the minimum when it comes to destroying gadgets. Plus, trying to get a Twitch drone past a mute jammer is like trying to kiss your own lips. Just not gonna happen. That's where Fuse comes in. His cluster charges can take out and burn any type of gadget, including barbed wire, which EMPs don't. I feel like the problem with Fuse is that a lot of people look at him in the light that Shashanka's in. Like he's just this huge meme and that he's this useless operator that Ubisoft thought it was going to be a great idea to add him in. But Fuse is actually very viable. I think where people get turned off with him is #1, he's thick as hell. He's like Gridlock, but a guy. #2, I think it's also because people aren't satisfied with what his gadget does. Like, no, not everybody wants to go Thatcher, but it's kind of like something you need to have on the team. It's just people don't see the need in that. They think just because he's fat and, it might be harder to get frags with cluster charges, that he's just not viable. But that's the issue. You're not supposed to be going for kills with cluster charges. That's just the cherry on top. You're supposed to be clearing out rooms, burning gadgets, burning utility, and then you can go for kills. I feel like people would thrive on Fuse if they're support players. Or they just have a high IQ when it comes to the game. Because a lot of people are very selfish when it comes to Siege, and they rather have 10 kills and lose than have 5 kills and win. And that's just the state Siege is in. Now, I actually have an idea. I feel like if Siege reworked Fuse only in the way to make him from a 3 armor, 1 speed, to actually a 2 armor, 2 speed, kind of like what they did with Warden. I feel like that's the only thing they need to do to actually rework him. Maybe take one of his cluster charges away, because then he's a little faster, so he's able to move around the map a lot. And like those cluster charges, they are pretty overpowered. If you actually see the way they shoot, if you know how to place cluster charges correctly, then you can clear out a whole room's utility. Like it shoots like 5 or 6 times, just 1 cluster charge. And that's like 6 exploding hockey pucks just shooting at you. So I think if they did what they did with Warden to Fuse, he would become a lot more picked. Right now he's under 5% of platinum to diamond players' pick rate. And that's just insane. Okay, now on screen you can see the win rate delta per operator versus pick rate. This is just a general thesis of what players are playing and their win rate and percentage of each operator in the platinum and diamond ranked on PC. And actually on screen you can see the pick rate. The lowest picked operator is Fuse on attack. And that's just crazy to think, because looking at this chart, Glaz and Blitz and even Finka are played more than him. And that just doesn't make sense, because their utility compared to Fuse's are just like peasant level. Yeah, they two of them have grenades and one of them has a shield. A shield that flashes people in the face. Who is realistically playing Blitz for the shitty ADS timing? Like I said before, I really think that if Ubisoft went and actually analyzed the way Fuse is played and why people don't want to play him, they would realize that they just need to take one of his cluster charges away, make him a 2-speed, and then, yeah, easy. He'd be played more. The biggest issue with actually running Fuse is facing players that have decent headsets. So literally anybody in 2019, but some kids use their Kinect mics and Xbox app. But for the ones that actually use headsets, is the worst to go against, because when you're actually placing a cluster charge onto a floor, it's so easy to hear because you're like a fat Shrek running around with like 10-inch Tims and you're just stomping around. So when you're in that slight animation putting down a cluster charge, if they pre-fire where they're hearing, they're most likely going to headshot you or even C4 you. Especially with Wamai, with his little ability, those little flying discs, when you throw it on a roof and a Fuse uses his cluster charge, he'll actually explode himself if he's in range of putting it down and like exploding it right away. Okay, so before I end the video, I just want to show you guys a basic demonstration actually how Fuse's cluster charge and device works, because a lot of people get it incorrect. They just think you just throw that shit down and it will, go some type of way. Now, cluster charges actually have a pattern, and it's always the same pattern. It's just left to right, but it matters what type of angle you're placing them at. As you can see, I was placing it my ass to the DJ booth, so it's going to go left to right from that angle. But when I actually go back upstairs and I place from my butt to the wall, it's going to actually cover more area, and it's going to actually take out more, for example, utility if this was actually in game. Siege actually has Fuse as a 1 difficulty operator. In hindsight, maybe, yeah, he seems like he's very easy to use, but I feel like he takes some map knowledge to actually use, because you actually need to know where to place these Fuse charges to actually get the best possible outcome. Okay, so I appreciate the support, and I hope this video sparked some train of thought and it even inspired you to even try out Fuse in today's meta. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. If you have any comments or criticisms, drop them in the comments. I will be sure to reply. Thank you.